Okay, so in 2020, I made a What's-His-Face about Animus magic, my thoughts on it, and why I didn't really like it as a concept in the Wings of Fire universe, or at least not as it is. And one of the biggest things that people commented on in this last video, and believe me, I still get comments about it to this day, are some generalizations I made in the previous video. Two big ones were that Animus powers were limitless and that there were no consequences for using them or ways to stop Animus magic dragons. Now, as everyone has pointed out, there are a few arguments against these two statements, but my opinion on them has not changed over the last 4 years, which 4 years, that's crazy. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, the first thing that everyone argues is that, well, Animus dragons can't do everything because they can't raise the dead or enchant actual dragons, etc. And yes, we do have these limitations spelled out for us. And if you haven't read Darkstalker Legends, this is an easy thing to believe. But Darkstalker completely rearranged how we as readers could perceive Animus magic. He proved that it is truly limitless. Here's where it gets a little confusing. I don't mean every Animus dragon is limitless necessarily, but the power itself, the basic component for it, is. Obviously, Darkstalker used his powers in ways we had never seen before because he was incredibly smart, so he found workarounds for basically anything that could have inconvenienced him. The only thing stopping every other Animus dragon ever from doing the same thing isn't some inherent safeguard in Animus magic itself. It's the capacity of the magic users themselves. This kind of gets to the root of my issue with Animus magic. It as a concept has no flaws in universe. Animus magic can do anything with no cost. And here's the second part where people come yell at me. But no, there is a cost. The Animus dragon loses their soul. Except we saw Darkstalker circumvent that really easily. Now, the argument about whether or not he'd lost his soul or his morality by the end of his arc is another issue. Darkstalker was doing horrible things by Book 10. But I think that was more an issue with his own personal problems, like his father's treatment of him and the corrupting nature of power itself. Any power, political, magical, whatever, it always corrupts the person holding it. That's kind of the nature of power, as far back in history as we can look. So we have this magic power that can do anything, with no consequences that can't be subverted. Remember, it's not necessarily the application I'm talking about the possibilities. Obviously, not every Animus dragon uses their powers to their full capacity, or Pyria would be a disaster. But the point is, every Animus dragon always has the ability to become like Darkstalker, or even worse. It wouldn't even be hard for them. Something you'll notice if you look around at magic or special powers in other books or movies is that there always have to be limitations and weaknesses to make it a good story. If your hero or your villain have no weaknesses, what's the point? Now, obviously, Animus dragons have been killed by non-Animus dragons over the years, but it's rare, and again, I'm not necessarily talking about exact specific instances of Animus magic throughout history. I'm talking about its general potential. Let me give an example of what I'm talking about, and we're going to look at Avatar because it's popular and I like it. So we have these benders, right, with magic powers that can do incredible things. We get characters like Zuko and Katara, among others, who can do incredible things with their bending. But they are the exception, not the rule, because there are a lot of limitations on this system of magic. A big one, benders generally need one or both hands to bend, except with a few moves. This is a big limitation right there. Benders are big and scary until they're handcuffed, right? Here's another, bending takes energy, and it tires the bender out. Also, there's levels of ability. Not every firebender can bend like Zuko or Azula. Some can barely warm their food. See what I'm saying? The system of magic is more realistic because it has weaknesses. In Wings of Fire, Animus dragons basically just have it made. They can cast a spell by speaking or with their mind, so there's no way to keep them from casting it. It doesn't take any energy from them. An Animus could literally cast spells all day. We saw that some truly huge spells take years to complete, such as the Sea-Wing Palace, but it wasn't like draining Albatross's power or energy that whole time. He could have set it in motion and gallivanted off just fine. And there are no levels of ability with Animus magic. You have it or you don't, and when you have it all. Also, to some of those restrictions we supposedly see in the book, Darkstalker literally brought Clearsight back from the dead. Not her actual body, but it was her. He could have enchanted that dragon to look like Clearsight too. The only reason he did it was because he didn't like what Clearsight was telling him. That doesn't mean the resurrection didn't work. To the contrary, it means it did, because we know that's how Clearsight would have been in life. So although technically it's not an actual resurrection, it's pretty much the same thing. And another thing Darkstalker proved, yes, you can enchant dragons. It wasn't even hard. He just enchanted Arctic to, That means the only thing keeping the majority of Animus dragons from enchanting other dragons is literally just that the thought hasn't occurred to them to try. And don't tell me after thousands of years, Darkstalker is the only dragon to experiment with his powers. This fact should be well known by now. The only limitations we ever see to Animus magic is the issues found within the bear themselves. But that doesn't count as a limit to the power, because it's better than nothing, but it's pretty close to nothing. When I say limitations, I mean limitations to the actual power itself, not to the bear. So why can't we have a limitless, consequence-free magic ability floating around in a fantasy series? Well, I said this in my previous video, but it hasn't changed since then. Because it's boring. I think that's a huge reason he dialed it back so much with the third arc. If your antagonist, at any moment, could decide to simply enchant everyone opposing him to drop dead, and I mean literally with ease, then your story loses a lot of its hope and suspense. You shouldn't base your hope of victory off the chance your antagonist won't decide to just spell his own victory. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love the second arc. It is by far my favorite part of the saga. But Animus magic is a bit of a flawed concept. Now, it would be a relatively easy one to fix in retrospect. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, and I'll be the first to say that magic systems, good, realistic ones, are hard to put together. It's hard to be original, but still interesting, and still fit with what your story needs. But I think, like, a basic magic limitation pack would be enough to save the concept of Animus magic. Now, there's options for how you want to do it, and it would really add some flavor. Make it harder to cast spells. Say you need a certain amount of energy, or you have to do it a certain time of year, or that there are certain levels of power some dragons just can't work up to. Or add some consequences. Say whatever you do, however much energy it would have taken for you to just do it yourself, you sleep that long or something. I mean, there's lots of options to add some limits here. What happens if you try a spell that fails? Is there a good incentive not to go mucking around with Animus powers too much? Other than the soul thing, because the soul thing doesn't necessarily stop an Animus dragon from doing a spell. Like, yeah, it's a consequence for them, but the spell still happens. I'm talking about consequences that would keep them from doing a spell. Like if an Animus dragon was like, hey, I want everyone in all of Pyria to die right now, and they made that a spell, or they enchanted a knife to like go around killing all the dragons or something, like he would probably immediately lose his mind, but the spell would still happen. So it's a consequence, but like not enough of a consequence to keep it from happening, if that makes sense. Anyways, I hit a lot of the same notes as I did in 2020 with this video, but again, my thoughts have not really changed. And I'm sure there will be people in the comments of this video arguing one point or another, which is fine, but please keep this in mind. I'm not trying to say that every single uttered instance of Animus magic used in the entire Wings of Fire series lines up perfectly with this analysis. I'm sure I forgot or missed details, or there was a scene or a spell that might go against something I've said. But please, keep in mind, I'm not trying to line up every single instance ever of Animus magic. I'm saying, in general, it's overpowered as a concept, because we've seen lots of evidence for its capabilities. If Darkstalker could do it, any Animus magic dragon could do it, and that's the problem. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and check out my other WHATSISFACEs, and if you enjoy my art and want to support me, feel free to go check out my new store. Newish, it's a few months old by now, but I'm still adding new products all the time, so I've got bookmarks, button pins, prints, stickers, all kinds of good stuff, so feel free to go use that link in the description and see what it's all about. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching, and please have a blessed week.